it.
All
I
right,
like
it's
this
your
place.
time.
Yeah.
Right.
No pressure.
That's right.
Very good.
Let's get
That's
a W.
the thing.
Let's
I
get
never
a
know
W
what to
this weekend.
say to you guys. Like, I want to say I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah.
But
That's great.
but I am. But then
But like, just pick
I
the
don't
people
wanna
you like
see
and the
you.
ones you don't like, and be like, I hope you played not quite as good as the other guy, but have a good week.
I know, right?
It's Blayne's time.
Right. Well, welcome to the table. We're on site here at the Memorial Health Championship presented by LRS and hosted by Panther Creek Country Club. And we're joined by Kate Peters, the executive director of the tournament and professional golfer, Blayne Barber. And we really appreciate the two of you taking time to be here. And Kate, we are really grateful that you made it possible for us to be on site today.
We love
Yeah.
having you.
Yeah, well, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
We love having you and having the tournament here.
Well, you don't look
in
too tired.
Springfield.
I mean, I mean, every time I've been out here in the last 2 weeks, it seems like you're here doing something.
Yeah, yeah. We put in some pretty significant hours this
Yeah.
week. Yeah.
Is
I
it
may
co-
not look tired, but
You
Well,
are
you
tired.
are.
I hit the wall today and got a little IV therapy. So
Oh, good.
yeah.
How many events have you done, even going back to the days when you did the State Farm, right? You were part of the LPGA deal, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like how many total? Do you know? Do you remember? I mean,
Well, I did 13 of those. I've done. This
Wow.
is my 8th of this.
This is the
seventh.
8th? Seventh?
Well, it's the 8th year for the tournament. My 7th.
Okay.
I work other tournaments for our company, so 4, 5, 6. I don't know, a lot.
quite a bit. So you do other tournaments outside of Springfield.
I
didn't
do.
realize.
Our
Okay.
company runs other golf tournaments. We have a motorsports division. We've got a
Okay.
catering company. We do a lot of SEC athletics.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
All
Is-
over the
very
place.
cool.
Is there anything, is the LPGA or the Korn Ferry, was either one more challenging than the other or very similar?
Oh, that's a trick question.
Yeah. And
I mean, the
really-
LPGA was 156 women.
Okay.
This is 156 men.
Men, yep.
And the challenges were different.
Yep.
You know,
Sure.
I love this tour.
Yeah,
I
awesome.
love professional golf. I love that we have it in Springfield.
Yeah.
We're the smallest market on the Korn Ferry Tour.
Yeah.
How we're ranked by the tour, we're
Sure.
the smallest market. So what we've done here is pretty amazing.
In fairness, this is the only place I can't get to on Delta.
Right.
Yeah. Where do you fly into?
Flew into St. Louis
Okay.
and drove on that beautiful drive through the
Scenic cornfields
farm,
of
55
farms in
north.
Illinois. It's great.
55
That's
north.
right. Rolled right in.
There are a lot of folks making money on that grain.
Oh, yeah.
They sure are. That's right.
Not
so,
us.
so you've been 7 years with this tournament.
Yep.
Give us a little, if you don't mind, a little history, background of this this tournament.
So this tournament, the first year was in 2016, and it was intended at the time to be a one and done.
Oh.
The tour at the time needed a stop on the schedule. Like they had lost, I forget the story because I wasn't intimately involved, but they had
There's a lot
lost.
of turnover during that time, I feel like, with
Yeah.
events.
Yeah. And so they knew that we had an LPGA tournament here and that the course could host it,
Sure.
you know, and so our company at the time was called Bruno Event Team, and we were contracted by the tour, brought a young man in who's now at our Des Moines Champions Tour event, and he did it for a year, and, you know, you guys know Springfield really well.
Oh, yeah.
He was a 25-year-old young man, and he did a fantastic job. Obviously, he planted the seeds because we're still here, right?
Yeah,
But
sure.
I can remember meeting with him and telling him, you know, you need to talk to this person or that person for that. And then I got a phone call one day saying, would you ever want to get back into golf? And I was like, no. And then I started thinking about it and looking at the sponsors they had and the sponsors they didn't. And I was like, we could do this.
Yeah.
So here we are.
That's awesome. And, you know, and being a small business, so we just do a very just small, what we can afford to do, but it sure seems like Springfield has really embraced this tournament. Is that fair?
Very
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I started, my goal was to get the Pro-Am to a sold-out situation.
Yep.
And then, you know, of course, I went to my old friends and Dick Levi. I went to him and we were going to have lunch, and he sent Ryan. I had never met Ryan Levi.
Sure. Yep.
And how they tell it is he sent Ryan because Dick had a hard time telling me no. And the
Oh,
whole thing was, let's tell her no, but you go tell her no.
Yeah.
And,
Well, you're
and-
not an easy person to say no
And he
to, by
said
the
yes.
way.
Well, and then I talked him into the Pro-Am. They were
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
umbrella sponsor of the Pro-Am. And then, you take a couple years, and then we got Memorial involved in a smaller fashion. And we do a great job on this tour. The players do a great job of engaging with people. They're just normal people.
Oh, they're
really.
awesome. Yeah.
But Ed Curtis took a truck tour, which if you've not been on the truck, you need to before you leave.
Mm-hmm.
And then the ball started rolling.
Yeah, that's
And
great.
I shook hands with Ed Curtis on December 19th, 2019.
Okay.
So we were going to shake hands, but I made him give me a hug because, it's huge it's
yeah.
huge to have this here.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah.
It's
That's
a big
awesome.
deal. There's only 26 of these.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And how do you guys how do you like Springfield? I mean, can you compare us to other tournaments or?
It is great. Like Kate said, it's a small market. It's kind of, if you look at a map, you don't really know where it is. We joked last year that this was like the Springfield stretch because we did Missouri the week before and then here.
Oh, yeah.
So we went from Springfield to Springfield, which was funny. We said we should just combine like an 8-round tournament called the Springfield.
Yeah.
Like have a title sponsor for like an 8-round series. Between the
Perfect.
Yeah.
Springfields. So y'all should partner together. But it truly, the people behind the events is what it's not we play. This is a good golf course we played this week. Conditions always great. It's a good test. It's kind of a sprint. I mean, there's a lot of birdies. There's a lot of good opportunities.
Sure.
We play some courses on this tour that are more basic than others. We play some that are probably PGA Tour quality type tracks. But the people that run these events, and I mean the fact that we have all these health services offered to us this week. It's insane the kind of stuff that Kate and her team provides us between
Like what kind of things would that be?
dermatological exams.
Oh, wow.
You can get a physical. You can get blood work done. You can
Wow.
get your hair cut. They're doing manicures for us players and
Oh,
the
that's
player
awesome.
dining.
That's awesome.
So there's a special vibe here, and it's a fun stop, and it's a place that we all enjoy coming to. And
Yeah. So I house, Tom Whitney, a good friend of yours,
Yeah.
at my house, and it's been great to get to know him and his family virtually, of course.
Yeah. Right.
But do most communities have housing for the players if they want that?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know extensively, but I would say the majority of them do.
They do. Okay, I was
can,
wondering about that as well.
And now a lot of that speaks to the local community and the court. Some courses aren't as residential as others, so we
Right.
we play at some places where the neighborhood's filled with homes and members that want to host players. It's a mixed bag, but that's a great service for player, and it's more than just saving a buck or having a comfortable bed to sleep in. Like life on the road it's isolating, it's lonely at times, and you get to meet great people like yourself and form relationships, and it's just a fun. Every year you look forward to seeing the same people that you see every year.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
Well,
that's cool. We were talking on the way over here
Yeah.
about what a grind it has to be to travel week in
Yeah.
and week out.
So I got to jump in here
cannot
and ask
imagine.
him his daily routine. Sorry, I'm asking all these questions, but like Tom, when he comes in, I mean, he has a routine that he does every day.
Yeah.
It's the same thing over and over. And I'm like, oh, you want to go out to dinner? Can I host? Can I do this? He's like, no, I do this, I do that. Like tonight, I think he's doing a Bible study or a dinner or something with a group of folks like you. And but what's your daily routine look like? And is it the same every week for the most part?
for the most part, I think I'm very type A and too much of a perfectionist, and I'd be kind of militaristic if I let myself. So I kind of try to put parameters in place and then just bounce between the parameters a little bit. Because if I set too strict of a schedule, I'd probably drive myself mad.
Sure.
So the one thing about golf, I've actually been thinking about this in my own processes recently. A pitcher for an MLB game can be pretty regimented because every day is the same.
Sure.
Unless the weather dictates the game, but like you get to the ballpark at a certain time, you do your warm up, blah, 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 you eat, whatever. We're determined by weather. Some days I wake up, I had to withdraw last week because I got a crick in my neck as I was warming up. Before I warmed up on Friday, I shot 2 under Thursday, went to warm up Friday and couldn't hit the ball. And so I try to kind of listen to my body, how I'm feeling, how my energy level is.
Sure.
So that's kind of the big picture. But yes, there's typically Monday's a travel day. Tuesday is kind of my long day of the week where I will either play all 18 or put in a few hours of practice and play 9, so it still turns into a 6 to 8 hour day.
Sure.
I find a local gym or a spot to go and take care of the fitness side of things for an hour and a half a day, 5 of the 7 days usually.
Sure.
And then, you're just trying to recover and eat good food and be prepped for the next day in the middle of that. So it is it's a typical, people ask me how much time I put in, whether on the road or at home, and it's a typical 9 to 5, 40, 50 hour work week.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And can you do strength training on the day that you play, like in the tournament? Will you do strength training or no?
I have. I've done a lot of stupid things. I've joked that you don't know what the limits are until you push them.
Sure.
Right.
Very basic lifts and movements and stuff, and I typically will do it like at 7 a.m. before a 1 p.m. tea time or something to give myself plenty of time. But I've messed around with all of it. There's a great local gym here in Springfield where I've gotten to know a bunch of the members and the owners, and I've done some really silly workouts prior to rounds that I regret. But that kind of has ebbed and flowed. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
So I'm curious with yourself as well as other players. You mentioned the gym, finding a local gym.
Yeah.
Are there other places that you find here in Springfield that you all as players go eat, go have a drink, go have a glass of wine, whatever?
We love Core Life Eatery, which is it's a chain, I'm sure,
Sure.
or a franchise type place, but
Yeah.
great local or great healthy, grain bowls and stuff. Is it Harvest
Harvest Market?
Harvest Market.
Yeah.
Love Harvest Market.
Is that right?
Great grocery store, and then the breakfast omelet with the bacon is fantastic. And
love
then
it.
the coffee shop right there is great too. I've spent a lot of time.
several of you will go to these. That's
pretty
awesome.
cool.
And you kind of, as you frequent these towns year after year, you find your little spots and you find your places to stay if you're not with a host or whatever. And so, coming into this week, I was like, I'm excited to see Brad again. I'm excited to see Cade. I'm excited to go to Capital City CrossFit and see the Brian and Morgan who own the place. And I'm going to go to Harvest Market.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Tom Whitney stayed with me 3 years, and I'm texting him, my address, and he's like at my garage. He goes, Brad, I've been with you 3 years. I know all that. I'm like, okay, I would not remember that.
Make yourself at home.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you played college golf. You finished your college career at Auburn, correct?
That's right. Yes.
And was it Central Florida prior to that?
Yeah.
Share a little bit about your college
I'm
days.
a Florida boy. I grew up in Lake City, Florida, just a small town in North Florida. My family's still there. I was recruited by a couple ACC, SEC schools. Went to UCF because I felt like the coach and I got along really well, Nick Kleinert. So I went there, and then we had my freshman year together. It was his 8th or 9th year there, and then he got offered the job at Auburn. And I loved Orlando. Had a great friend group, good sense of community. School was fine. Facilities were good. And then I was like, why you got to go ruin my, you got to make me make this decision again.
Yeah.
And I'd taken a visit to Auburn and ironically hated it for no reason. Then it just I got sick on the visit. It just didn't go well. And so he's like, I'm taking the job at Auburn. I want you to come. And so I went through the whole figuring that out again over that summer, transferred to Auburn, and then met my wife at school. We both graduated in 2012, and then I've lived there as an adult since, for 11 years now. So it's
a beautiful community. It's
Thank
just like
you.
this
Yeah.
little town. It's cozy, and everybody's
great
so friendly.
Small college town.
Yep.
We have 4 kids. It's a great place to raise a family. And
How old are your kids?
8, 6, 3, and 9 months.
Okay.
Yep.
So your wife is very busy. She's got her hands full.
She is a superhero.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm constantly taking a temperature gauge on how she's doing at home.
Right. Yeah.
Very good idea.
I bet.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How, do they get to come out on the road at all?
They do a little bit. We did an event a few weeks ago, and then we're trying to figure out where they're gonna come at least maybe 2 more times, either one more in the summer and one in the fall.
Okay,
but
cool.
It just is
A lot of work, I'm
It's
sure,
a lot of
yeah,
work.
with the kids, I bet.
So yeah.
Well, good.
So there's 26 stops.
26.
Yeah. So half the year.
When does the season end? When's
start
it end and all
end.
that? Because I know Tom's close to getting his card.
Yeah.
Right. And so
It just, you can speak to this if you want.
No, go ahead.
The season just shifted with the new format of the PGA Tour being the way they changed the fall schedule. The tour season used to start in September, and it was like a wraparound schedule that went into the following calendar year.
Okay.
Now they've differentiated that. And so for us, our schedule now runs through October, and then we get like a 2-month break before the guys that get their PGA Tour cards start in January.
Okay.
So it used to be a very condensed 26 weeks with no breaks, and you just kind of had to pick when you took a week off here or there. Now we have a few, like next week we're off, the week of the 4th, and then we have a couple more breaks as we get closer into the final events.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
What's the typical number that guys will play out of the 26, or is there a typical number?
23 or 24 is probably common.
Gotcha.
It's a lot.
Some guys are, if guys that lock up their card earlier may skip 1 or 2 extra, and then you'll have some guys that play all 26.
Yeah.
So it just
What a
depends.
grind.
That is a great.
Can you talk a little bit, either or both of you, about the Korn Ferry Tour and how its function and how it leads folks into the PGA Tour? If I'm asking that question correctly.
me to go for it?
Let's see what your answer is.
On Little Sleep, so at the end of the season, the top 25 earn their PGA Tour cards. It's as simple as that.
30.
Okay.
30.
Oh, excuse me.
Top 30?
Top 30? Oh, okay.
You were close.
See,
Well,
I
then,
haven't had
and you
enough.
have been
Top
up on
30.
the PGA, so talk a little bit about the differences even.
Well, last year it was 50.
It was.
Oh,
And
really?
That
then
was part of the structural
That's
changes.
part of the
yeah.
structural change, and so now it's the top 30. And so,
Okay.
yeah, I mean the season ends at the Korn Ferry Tour Championship in Evansville. This will be the last year that it's at Victoria National in Evansville. It moves to French Lick.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. It's news to me.
yeah.
Thank you for
Surprise.
sharing that.
I don't know. I don't know if that's public, but
Yeah.
that's where it's
It
going.
is now.
It is now.
Yeah, it is
might be
now. Yeah, we can edit that
I was
out,
like,
I guess.
hey, that's where it's going. Yeah.
Man, this is live.
Yeah, but and talk a little bit about the differences or maybe the similar or challenges, I guess, if you will, between say the PGA and the Korn Ferry, because we were talking earlier and I thought it was interesting what you said.
Yeah, they're both very extremely competitive, obviously.
Yep.
I almost think, and I've heard this opinion from multiple guys, that it's almost easier to keep your PGA Tour card based off the length of the season, the way the point structure is awarded, and how many cards there are, than it is to get your card.
Sure.
Because there are, I mean, the PGA Tour U is a new qualification system that just was implemented last season,
Okay.
and this year the 5 guys started and 2 guys won the first 2 weeks.
Okay.
College seniors just graduated and they won their first start.
I heard.
And
yeah.
so
the guy from Illinois, right? Or
Right.
not? Yeah, right. Is that right?
Adrian.
Yes,
Adrian, yeah.
Illinois and then Florida. Yes.
Okay, Florida, yeah. Okay.
Back-to-back weeks, and so you've got 22-year-olds who come out and they're winning events.
Yeah.
And so top to bottom, it's just very jam-packed. I mean, you can. I think last week missing the cut was 7 shots from the lead.
Wow.
Man.
And so
That's
if
crazy.
you squeeze one more shot out, you could win the tournament, but now you're going home.
Right.
And so it just only 30 cards with, let's say roughly 200 people that have status throughout the year. It's just very difficult.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so I think the schedule and the travel and the grind of professional golf, you really learn that well. And the Korn Ferry Tour has much more of a familial feel to me than the PGA Tour is big money, big corporate sponsors. It's big business.
Big business, sure.
Everybody has a team. You have, multiple people that work for you, with you, around you. And so I think this tour is great at setting yourself up for success at that stage.
Gotcha.
But they're both extremely difficult.
Sure. How often are you working on your game? Like, do you have like a golf coach or a swing coach or somebody that's working with you?
I've kind of
Or is it hit
I've
and
kind of
miss?
been all over the board of that throughout my career. I've Coach Kleinert at Auburn is one of my closest friends, and he was my full-time swing coach for a long time, and he'd come out on the road when the team wasn't playing and stuff. I've worked with a couple other guys since working with Nick full-time. Right now, I feel most age and experience. I know what I'm doing, and I'm just trying to continue to chip away at it and implement it, and just trust in my game. Everybody's a little bit different there.
Sure.
Gotcha. Kate, you so 7 years here.
Yes.
You guys have built, you and your team of folks, an incredible tournament and event and everything that goes around it. The economic impact for Springfield continues to grow.
It does.
And it's quite impressive. Where do you see this going in the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, my hope is that one day we're televised You know, if it makes sense, that carries with it some additional expense, but also tremendous exposure
Sponsorship.
for this
Yeah.
community, you know. There's a handful of Korn Ferry Tour events that are televised, and we want to be one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm super competitive.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So every
that's
year
a great
it's
goal.
like, what is next? In fact, that's being competitive. So, you know, did I text you about player dining menus? You know, and that's a big topic amongst tournament directors. Don't ask about powdered eggs, but I'm like, Blayne, would you please look at my player dining menus and tell me? And
Give
Do
me
you have real
feedback.
eggs?
Is that
Yeah.
right?
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
we just want to be the best.
Yeah.
Now
And
there
it
was
says a lot about Kate and this event that she would contact a player to ask me that.
the attention to detail.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
meant the
awesome.
world to me that she cares and that they're looking, because those maybe are overlooked details that that
Yeah.
I don't think should be, and so it's great that they're
Yeah.
Well,
on
that's what
top of
Tom
that
was
stuff.
saying last year was just a haircut, all the things that you were, the extra amenities
Yeah.
that maybe you don't
It's
necessarily have,
fantastic.
that, like you said, the physicals and things like that. But, you know, last year we were talking to one of the major sponsors here, and this individual said that we wanted to be the #1 stop on the tour, Korn Ferry Tour, and the individual that said that has been very
Yeah.
successful, like
Fulfilling what
coming
he says
through
we're
what
going
he
to do.
commits to. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Without
I
naming
mean,
any names. Is that accurate?
Every year, there's a tournament that is selected as Tournament of the Year.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure who gets to decide that.
Sure.
I'm really not. Last year, we were named Charity of the Year. And that is because Memorial Health, in addition to being our title, is also our charitable partner.
Right.
And so, you know, when I submitted our request, our application to be considered as Charity of the Year, there is no other title on this tour, maybe the PGA Tour, who is doing the things that Memorial is doing. Those physicals, these things that we're doing, they're pushing.
Yeah.
They're pushing. They're elevating.
Sure.
It's all about taking us to the next level.
That's
and
great.
TV's next.
Yeah.
We want to win Tournament of the Year, so
Yeah.
maybe that's
Yeah.
in the cards. I don't know. I'm not sure what we're going to do next year to top it. I'm just not sure what we're going to do.
You'll figure it
Yeah,
out.
yeah, you'll
We've
come up
all
with something.
watched
Yes.
enough years to know you'll
Yeah.
figure it
Yeah,
out.
for
What's funny or interesting is, and we were chatting about this the other day, is I remember the days of you and me strategizing when I was at the Chamber of Commerce as a CEO
Yes.
about which alderman we could convince to
Vote
for the
for our
city
funding.
to
Yeah.
put funding towards this.
Yeah.
And those days feel like a long time ago to you, I bet.
I never envisioned myself as a political minded person. And, you know, when I learned that I had to go secure city funding, I have to go lobby. Like, that's what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to go lobby, and like
She
I
would
went and
call me and be
please, Chris, help me. Like, who can you sway? I got to know, like, going into city council, I would have to know, okay, I've got 6 yeses and 3 no's and
Yeah.
1 maybe. And, you know, we think the mayor's going to take break the tie, you
Right.
know, and it's crazy.
Yeah, you don't
It's a
know.
long time ago, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
Look at where it was then and where you are now.
I know.
And I know
that's
Chris misses those
huge.
days.
I know he
You
does
know?
too.
Yeah, yeah. We don't miss those days either. You know, I would miss the people if I didn't have the opportunity to
Sure.
still have all the relationships with all those
Sure.
businesses and business owners. But it's a necessary part of the job. But
And-
I don't miss the political arena.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Visit Springfield, right? Like,
Oh yeah,
Scott Dahl has been a great supporter
Yeah.
of the tournament, even dating back to the LPGA. But, you know, they underwrite grounds tickets for anybody that wants to come out. You don't have to pay.
Yeah.
Just go
Yeah.
sign up for a free ticket and come out.
That's
So
great.
That is great,
professional
yeah.
golf, just come out. And
Yeah.
even if you're not a fan of golf,
Sure.
once you're out here,
Oh,
you're
it's,
hooked.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great. Yeah, get some exercise in and walk around. Yeah, the weather's gonna be nice. So, how's your game right now?
It's good.
You feeling good,
Yeah.
confident going into the weekend?
Feel game's really good. I've had some good finishes lately. Feel like
Nice.
it's building, and yeah, this would be a great place to.
What's the
light
most
it on
challenging
fire.
part of playing Panther? Is there anything? Because it
good
seems
question.
fairly innocuous. In other words, it's there's not a lot of high rough and it's pretty open. And,
Yeah,
I mean,
there's in my times, I don't know how many years I've played here. It seems as though we've gotten firm, fast conditions, which is what it is right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or we've gotten really wet with bad weather and
correct.
rain.
Yeah.
It is, I would say, getting it in the right spots to be able to attack on your second shot there are quite a few driving holes where angles matter, the firmness matters. You got to cover water on 7, 8's a tight little driving hole, 9. So it's if the wind, which it looks like it might actually be kind of windy this week too. So it is kind of at first glance that way, but I mean it gets tricky, and it's more so. The scoring's pretty low here typically because just with the modern game and how far the ball's going that, you know, we're hitting short clubs in a lot of the par 5s and stuff. So it is kind of you just got to get out and just run when you get going. And so that kind of puts a little bit of added pressure on it.
Are the greens now? So I played out here a couple weeks ago. It seemed like the greens were really firm and not always holding shots. However, I'm not a pro either. So are they holding shots?
I actually haven't played yet. I'm going to play tomorrow in the Pro-Am, but I've heard a few guys say today that they do have a little bit of bounce to them, which is which is great.
I mean,
because I mean we've played years bent grass in the summer. If you get a bunch of rain, it just gets really soft, and that makes it you just kind of playing darts. So having a little bit of bounce to them is really good.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, it sure has been good to talk to you. Any last words? This will be published and go live here really soon.
Will it go live before the tournament?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Come
right?
out and watch the tournament.
Yeah,
All of
tomorrow.
you people watching this. Come out.
Yeah, it'll be live tomorrow.
Yeah, you should come out. You should not miss this. Don't call it AAA baseball because it's not.
No.
Oh,
You're
I
right.
do that a lot.
It's not AAA.
It's not-
You
it's
guys
not
are so
AAA
much
baseball.
better.
It's amazing how
It
many
is.
names have come through Springfield that are now on the tour. I see them on
absolutely.
TV. I mean, it's
We
incredible.
We have
the
a
time.
volunteer. So
Yeah.
we have a volunteer named Andy Zilm, and he has kept stats on this tournament, and I'll email it to you. Every year, the field and where each player finished. And so what he doesn't know is that we use that when we're building our social media posts. So like if somebody wins, I can go back to this. I've got this spreadsheet and I can say, okay, Blayne he did this. And so we can tie that connection.
Yeah.
So like in this year's Masters, of that, what is it, 88 guys, something like that, 25% had come through Springfield.
Is that right? Wow, that's
amazing.
That's pretty cool.
And when you put it like that, like for me,
Yeah.
I know I'm probably not supposed to say this. The Masters is my favorite.
Sure.
I love it.
Oh yeah. How do you?
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. But to watch the people that I've met and, you know,
Yeah,
we've
that's pretty
sat
cool.
down and had a cup of coffee together, that is so cool.
I love it.
You know,
That is cool.
It is.
we just want people to come out.
What
There
I,
is
what, I,
perfect-
what I finished last year.
I don't remember, Blayne. I haven't
on.
slept in
She
days.
has it on the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Let
What
me get
did you
my
finish last
spreadsheet
year?
out.
What
I
did you?
finished ninth.
Ninth. Yeah. You had a good
it was a good
week.
week, yeah.
Weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
All
I
right,
like
it's
this
your
place.
time.
Yeah.
Cool.
No pressure.
That's right.
Very good.
Let's get
That's
a W.
the thing. I
Let's get a
never know
W
what to
this weekend.
say to you guys. Like, I want to say I'm so happy you're here,
Yeah.
but
That's great.
I am. But then
But like, just pick
I
the
don't
people
wanna
you like
see
and the
you.
ones you don't like, and be like, I hope you played not quite as good as the other guy, but have a good week.
I know, right?
It's Blaine's time.
Right.
I haven't heard from my friend Rob. I'm supposed to go play ping pong with Rob.
Nice. Yeah, that's player lounge. We've got ping pong, foosball. I know we have the. I'm blanking on the
Video.
arcade game.
Oh,
Pac-Man,
Gallagher.
Pinball.
Pac-Man.
pinball,
Pinball.
golden tee. We've got coloring
Couches.
sheets in there.
That's
coloring
great.
sheets.
You didn't see him on the bar?
I didn't.
How
see
many
them yet.
other stops have that kind of players lounge with
Not many.
just fun
Yeah.
recreational stuff?
I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of any others.
That's pretty cool.
There might be, but this one stands out
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So if you bring your kids and your spouse, do they have access to the clubhouse and all that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
great.
Typically.
That's awesome.
You do?
Yeah. Well, thank you
Yeah.
guys
Yeah,
for
thanks.
taking the time to do this.
Thanks
Yeah.
for coming out
And,
here and
uh,
Thanks
doing
for
it.
having me.
Yeah.
Both of you.
So well done. Thanks for what you're doing for
Thanks
the community.
exactly. Yes. Thank you,
you.
Kate.
Very
See you
much.
tomorrow morning.
We'll be
Yep.
here. Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yep.
This is for
Good.
Yep.
all
Thanks.
the people at the
Yes.
Memorial Health Championship.
That's right.
I like
All
it.
of them, because
Well
it takes
done.
a lot of us.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yep. So thank you.
Thanks.